Hey, what's going on, everyone? Drone Buzz Live coming at you. We've got some fun stuff for you today. We have a guest. We're going to bring on Originaldobo. He's going to, we'll talk about some cool stuff. And we're giving away a drone today. We're going to do that right at the beginning, right? We're not going to milk it. Last time we we did, didn't we, Chris? And what happened?
We forgot. Yeah, we forgot after the fact.
So, so we had to do it after the fact. We went with Game of Drones. He's here. I see him there. So that's awesome. But he won our last one. That was a Bang Good giveaway, which we will do. We're going to try and be more consistent with this. So I think every other Tuesday night, 8 p.m. So set your clocks. We've got one scheduled for next Tuesday. Not next Tuesday. 2 weeks from now, right? So what is that, the 22nd?
It's getting up there on Christmas.
Yep. So it'll be a Christmas themed drone buzz, whatever that means. We're gonna talk a little Christmas today too. But yeah, so Chris, we're giving away a drone to one of our Patreons, right? So if you're not familiar with Patreon, we've got a link in the video description. It's basically a way to help support this channel, and we're gonna give back to you. So one of our 3 Patreons, we have 3. We're hoping to, to have enough to cover the shipping for these drones that we send people. But we thought, what was our plan, Chris?
This guy here. Well, we'll give it away to the first Patreon. Is that what we decided, just to kind of reward?
Yeah, our number one fan. Our first drone giveaway goes to our first Patreon. And that is the SJRC. Is it the S70?
This is the Phantom Black right here.
Phantom 5 interchangeable lenses. That's a first, and we're giving it to our first Patreon because we love our people so much. No, it's the SJRC S70, right? Also known as the Holy Stone something.
Holy Stone HS100, and some people asked us about some examples, and if you want to see a detailed analysis of what a rebranded drone is like, this is the one. This is probably the video to watch on this one, because this drone was available from different websites. Holy Stone is like an Amazon brand. For if you want to spend like an extra $150 or something, I forget, you could buy it on Amazon. And so, and it would have better reviews as well. So the mystery Holy Stone reviews. So we've talked about that before. Let me throw it up there on the stream. There it is.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's a beaut.
Prove it flies. So we've been hanging on to this thing for a while. We mentioned the last live stream, we've been trying to get rid of some stuff here. So there you go. It's a GPS drone, decent little camera, if I remember.
Yeah. It's good. It's a great beginner drone. A good thing to start with. And if you watch this video, you'll see some drone DJ references back in the day when we were working with drone DJ. We might talk a little bit about that with Ken here coming up, because he's got some insight, or we have some insight, or who knows. But all right, so let's roll our. Should we roll our intro? This beautiful intro that we made, and then we'll get started.
We skip it today? I don't know. We kind of already got started, didn't we?
All right. Yeah. It's.
I kicked us off.
Yeah, it's no good. We got Ken. Let's get the Dobo on the stream here, people. Welcome to the stream.
What's good, guys? What's good?
How we doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I'm digging the new setup you guys got going on.
Thanks. We're definitely still trying to figure this out, but we're getting there.
Live streaming's always a little weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of cumbersome, and never know what could go wrong type of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this definitely takes a lot of the guesswork out of the equation when you get to use StreamYards. It's just super convenient.
Yes. Yeah. So we struggled with OBS for a while, and this is, it's easier. So that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely been there with that.
Yes. Saw your video this morning. That was perfect timing on the Skydio. Are you cool talking Skydio a little bit?
Yeah. We can talk Skydio.
because I actually literally flew it really for the first time yesterday.
Okay.
And I was impressed and
impressive.
terrified at the same time.
Yeah. That's the same feeling I got like when I first flew it. I couldn't take my eyes off of it because that's what you do with the drone, right? You sort of watch it, right? And I just couldn't believe like some of the positions that it would put itself in, and it would just come out unscathed. Yeah, I'm just like, this is unbelievable. But after a while, you sort of like you start trusting it, and it just gets better.
It was crazy. So my wife's like, "You want to take the dog for a walk?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I'm like, "But hold on a second. We're gonna have this thing follow us." She's like, "What?" So I threw it up there, and we live outside of Chicago, so we don't have the beautiful Florida weather that you do. So all of our trees, there's no leaves on the trees. I'm wearing like a parka. It's terrible, but this thing is bobbing and weaving. It was impressive, and scary, and So I don't have the remote yet. What's that?
Yeah, the remote adds like a whole nother dynamic. I thought it was going to be better with the remote, but I just find letting the drone sort of do what it wants to do is like the best thing for it, right? Because the whole idea is it's filming you.
Yes.
The Skydio does best when it has a subject to film or track, and trying to fly it like a normal drone, it doesn't fly like a normal drone. It still has like sort of like these robotic, non-organic movements to it. So I just sort of just come to the conclusion that if I'm going to use it, it's going to be because it's going to be tracking me or tracking a vehicle, something my Mavic can't do or whatever. That's how you're going to use that. But it's an amazing tool. It's an amazing tool if you're a solo creator, or you're in action sports. I mean, it's like your best cameraman.
So I actually have it for a different purpose, and it's interesting because, in the video you published today, one of the things that Paul said was it's unsafe, right?
Yeah, he did say it was unsafe.
And I got this drone. This is not my drone, right? I got this drone because I'm teaching a class to 17 high school students on how to fly a drone, and I wanted something that was going to be hard for them to crash, right? So I thought this has got to be like the best tool for that purpose, right? We had an awesome donor. We got 2 Skydios, we got a couple of Mavic Minis, we got some Telos, we got some Tiny Hawks,
that's cool.
We got a whole range of drones. I'm pumped to teach this class starting in December, and but yeah, this was a tool that I identified as, this is going to be great for kids because they're not going to be able to crash it really easily, right?
No, they definitely can't. It's an amazing piece of equipment, and to the point, like so Drone U says that they're giving away their Skydio 2 because they feel like it's unsafe. It's a liability. So it's so much of a liability that you're wanting to tease people to come to your 107 class, to look at your website. So you're willing to you're wanting to pass this liability on to somebody else.
Yeah.
That just makes no sense. So if it's unsafe for you, it should be also unsafe for anybody else, right? Which I don't buy it, because when I was at Commercial UAV, when we were all waiting for our Skydios back in October, before these things ever shipped, they got a chance to fly the pre-production units. And there was a series of tweets. I went back a year. You know how hard it is to go back through a year's worth of tweets on somebody? You tweet a lot throughout a year. I had a lot of free time one night, and I just started screenshotting all these, because I remember he was going nuts. He was like, this is amazing. Tesla can use this technology.
Yeah.
And in a year's time, he's totally flipped his script, and a lot of that, honestly, and I accused him of this. I feel like there's been some DJI influence there. Like, you can't tell me that DJI doesn't buy ad space on Drone XL's website, which was founded by Hai and Paul. Like, you can't tell me that there isn't ad space happening there. Like, bullshit. It's happening. So I know there was influence there, because every time they would talk negatively about Skydio, DJI, mostly Brendan Schulman, would immediately retweet that. And I'm just like, all right, clearly, DJI feels threatened by the level of autonomy and what Skydio brings to the table. And it's got me thinking, I'm like, man, I used to think Autel was DJI's biggest competition, but they're not. Their biggest competition is Skydio, not in the hardware sense, but in the software sense. Skydio is the closest within striking distance, I think, as far as software goes and overall user experience. I think Skydio is the closest to sort of, not, I wouldn't say dethrone, because they're never going to dethrone them, but that's their biggest competition. I think DJI knows that.
What do you think, Chris? You're the engineer brain. You've been talking about this tech for a while.
Yeah, you mentioned. Well, first of all, I want to. Your analogy is perfect. That was my first reaction. They're going to give it away because it's unsafe. It's like your wife yelling at you for having a handgun, so you leave it at the local park. It's like
right.
That logic doesn't really pan out. And I think you also said, and I would tend to agree. I think that probably it goes beyond DJI, even that they slighted him somehow. And
I did say
that guy is so vindictive. I've had personal interactions with him. He just does weird stuff, and he's a weird dude, and never quite understood, wanting to hook up with him and work with him. I feel so far. I mean, how do you listen to that podcast without just feeling so bad for that Rob guy? That guy just like hold the thing. How does he suffer that? I mean, he's like a saint.
Well, and you look at like Vic Moss, who was a long time a part of Drone U and used to write a lot of articles for Drone U, and I think is primarily responsible for a lot of their curriculum that they have. Vic is an amazing teacher. He's a wealth of knowledge, and for him to part ways and just say, all right, this isn't me. This is not how I want to, move about the space. This is not how I want to move about the industry, speaks volumes. The other thing, like I even pointed out, and I get it. We all start out when we create our YouTube channels, and we may not have the best cameras. We may not have the best presentation, but the biggest thing is, as we're going, we learn, right? We learn and we say, okay, well, what can I do a little bit better to present, my material to my audience so people perceive it a little bit differently? What can I do to present myself differently in front of, brands? Because we're all advertising ourselves for a job, essentially, between brands. This dude is still filming what I compare to a potato. And he did it again today. Like, he did it again. He went after the guy that got the $182,000 FAA fine. If you're going to talk about stuff, put your best foot forward. Don't make your content look crappy and terrible audio. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like, I just never understood.
Yeah. So, Jack, you asked about the technical aspect. Actually, you mentioned High also, Ken, because I remember when the Skydio came out, and he mentioned, well, it's going to take DJI like 6 months to catch up. And I said, I don't think so. They've been in the game longer. They've been trying hard. They've been trying, and the DJI obstacle avoidance has been a very slow crawl at best in terms of getting better. It really hasn't much. And I mean, we almost hit our Mavic Zoom into a pole.
It hit.
The almost destroyed our drone. I mean, it was a pole this big around. I mean, it's not like a little wire, a little stick. So it just doesn't work that well. And clearly they've been leapfrogged. And unless, short of hiring or buying Skydio or hiring half their team, I don't see it happening potentially for years.
And that's the thing. Their team isn't like, this is not like an over the seas team where, technology is stolen and traded. Like every Chinese business I see has this problem where so-and-so offers X company more, and you start seeing it like X Dynamics went through that. They got, technology from another industry source, whatever. You notice you don't see Unique anymore. Where do all Unique's players go? So they're quiet now. So that's what happens overseas. But this is the first time an American company says, well, wait a second, we can control the intellectual property. We can control our algorithms. We can control like our software. So we get to play Now,
And they have
I
something
think,
worth protecting, unlike,
right, it
you know, like
absolutely
a
is. It's the
Solo
same
or
reason why they
something.
wouldn't sell. Like they've been tried to be bought, you know, several times, and Skydio's just like, no, we're good. We know what we know our worth. And clearly, you were assigned a military contract. You just built the X2, which is probably one of the most advanced commercial drones on the market today. Right, that's the most advanced drone on the market, and nobody's going to have access to it. So DJI reminds me of like somebody trying to save money, but they're like, oh, well, I'll start saving around tax time, because tax time, I'm going to get a huge lump sum amount put in my account. And now I feel like I have something there, so it's worth saving. So I feel like DJI is the company, like they want it, but if they can't buy it, they're just going to keep making incremental updates until they get it to a usable point, which I'm sure at some point they'll get there. But at that point, where's Skydio going to be? They're going to be gone,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. When we spoke to Skydio, Jack, at the conference here in Chicago, and you know, and they said basically they already knew where they wanted to go, where they needed to go. They're just simply limited by whatever the processing power was, you know, 6 months ago, because that's what they're building into their drones. So every time processing power gets better and they're able to integrate that, you're just going to see more and more capability.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I think people they underestimate like who they are. Like Skydio, I've asked them and talked to them several times, and they will tell you straight up, they are a software company that happens to make drones. So they're software first, hardware second, and that's really apparent. Like these are MIT grads, like the brightest of brightest minds in the country are sitting here working for this company in Redwood, just producing amazing things. And there's so much, like from a commercial aspect, like from somebody who does site scans and house scans, like we're going to see insurance adjusters eventually using Skydio's, throw up a Skydio, and it's going to do a whole house scan and analyze, you know, the damage after maybe a hurricane or whatever the case may be. It can build out a map of that damage, a 3D map, and it didn't take a pilot but 5 minutes, you know, to do, or whatever, however long it takes. So yeah, you know, to Paul's extent, he's right. The FAA is going to eventually have to recognize autonomy and make changes, but I think that autonomy is going to have to go through some certifications. Like,
well, but even still, like even if I'm flying my drone autonomously, right? I'm still in control.
You're still
I'm still responsible. I can throw my Mavic. I can throw my Mavic Mini up there, do orbits and dronies and rockets and all. That's all autonomous. That's the same thing, right? I'm not in control,
right?
So it's not really all that different, right? To suggest that, you know, that this is unsafe and
the notion that anyone is always 100% in control is silly,
right? Because GPS drones crash. I mean, how many times have we seen Christmas morning? I can't wait, because I'm going to go through tweets Christmas morning, and we're going to see countless people crash and lose their brand new drone on Christmas Day. It happens every single year. We see this.
Yeah.
Yep.
It happens, and you know, these are supposedly, you know, the best of the best drones, and they're still crashing. So yeah.
Speaking of Christmas, should we go on to that? Should we ask Ken what his favorite Christmas present is?
Sure, but before we do that, we got a super chat. Yes, this is the Animal House College T-shirt, one of my favorites. So thanks, Jaron, for noticing. I don't know that I'm an animal, but I like the shirt. So
never know.
We'll find out. All right. Christmas. Yeah, Christmas around the corner. Ken, if you were to tell someone one drone for Christmas, what would it be?
I think I'd go Mavic Air 2 right now.
Yeah, it's solid, right?
Yeah. You know, I would say the Mini, but the problem with the Mini is it's
Mini 2 or Mini 1?
The Mini 2.
Yeah.
The Mini 2. It has too many limitations to an extent of it's too light. It gets blown around by the wind. The camera's a little bit limited. You know, it feels like somebody who buys a motorcycle, you buy that 600, and then you're like, oh man, I'm hooked. And then you end up buying the 1000 or the 750. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to step up really quickly. I feel like for a lot of people, the Air 2 is that perfect sweet spot. It's not too big. It's not too small. So it can travel well, but you don't feel quite limited by what the drone actually is. Like, I feel like that's a drone you can keep for a solid 2 years and probably not be upset about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like that anyways.
but that's like it's like $800, right? So is there
Yeah.
anything? There are very few people I love enough to give an $800 gift to, right? So what? Is there anything like people ask all the time, right? Jack, what's a good drone to give? I'm like, what's your budget? I'm like, oh, I got $50. I'm like,
Not gonna happen.
hard,
I'll give you a tennis ball.
Is there a low cost drone? I know that's not really your segment, right? But
Right. Low cost drone, man. That's terrible. I'm lumped into that. Like, make me sound very bougie.
well, no, but you're a photography guy, right? You're not taking pictures.
I mean, you could go with the mini, but I don't know of too much like the FEMIs and stuff like that. I never got into that because I always felt like it was more aggravation than it was worth. You know what I mean? Here's the thing.
It is.
I try to explain to people all the time. If you buy it cheap, you're going to buy it twice, and you buy cheap, it's gonna be expensive because you're going to end up buying it twice. And then when you try to sell it, you can't sell it for what it's worth. The one thing I would stress to anybody: if you buy a DJI drone, chances are, if you don't like it, you're going to be able to get almost damn near what you paid for it if you don't destroy it. And you could put care refresh on it. So there's like all these like little niceties that you get when you buy a DJI drone, you know? So it's like, you're going to get care refresh. No other manufacturer offers that, to where you sort of have a safeguard, providing you can recover the drone, which in most instances, that's a pretty good gamble. You're probably going to be able to recover the drone, or at least screen record so you can prove that it wasn't your fault. Whatever the case is, you don't get that luxury with like other brands. And it's already hard enough to communicate with these brands. Like, have you ever tried to communicate with Xiaomi? Like, over, like, they were supposed to send me a drone, and we could tell you how that communication went because I still don't have it. And Xeno, Hubson, even worse. My first experience with the Xeno was it flew away from me. Like, it flew away. Like, I destroyed a Xeno like within 30 seconds of takeoff.
Even the good ones are not. the Xeno is like, I cannot believe that they just keep making these and people keep buying them. They
love it. They love it's an infatuation with the fact that this could be a potential budget Mavic killer, or as iPhone users would put, a budget magic killer. Mm-hmm. You know, with the autocorrect. But that's the thing. People have that, you know, they think that it can be, and it's not, because they don't put enough into quality control. They don't put enough into that. I mean, I'm sure there's some drones that probably come close. Maybe. Yeah. I can't even freaking think of it.
Right. It's all about like, there's nothing that competes with the original Mini $500.
No. I mean, the original Mini was such a incredible value for what it was. And then they top it with the new Mini with OcuSync, which I think OcuSync does help it out tremendously. The camera's got 4K now. I mean, I don't know. It's a cool drone. I don't fly it enough. I don't fly any GPS drones really at all anymore.
You're big in the FPV game, huh?
Dude, I'll fly FPV all day long. I just can't get behind the GPS drones. Like, you know, with the exception of if there's an update or something like Game Changer, I'll check it out. I'll fly it. If I'm doing a gig or doing a job for a client, yeah, I'll fly a GPS drone. But beyond that, those batteries, they don't get charged very often anymore. Yeah. Which is sad.
It's getting cold around here. So this is what I'm flying a lot now.
Somebody did mention the Parrot Anafi. That would be actually a drone you can recommend. That's still sort of floating. Matter of fact, I don't know where I stuck it. I still have, I put an Anafi up because I'm like, you know what? I still have an Anafi. I got 3 batteries, haven't flown it. I was like, you know, I'll just sell it, get rid of it. Sure. It's just taking up space.
Yeah. Contact Originaldobo if you're looking.
You want an Anafi? I got one for sale.
We just sold our Anafi actually.
It's hard. It's hard to find buyers for Parrot products because most of the people think that automatically assume Parrot is a toy, but the Anafi is actually really not. It's a serious little drone. It is a good little drone.
I would actually take that over the original Mini. It is more.
I would take the Anafi. Yeah. I would take the Anafi because it had log footage, HDR. It was pretty good.
It's got the camera is still sharper on the Mini, but I like the Mini camera a little better.
Well,
so
yeah, Nafi's a good drone for sure.
Did you happen to catch Bardwell's stream today?
I did. I did see that. That was pretty.
Could he not make it any more apparent that he's got He's got the unit. Like, he's such a smug son of a bitch. He really is so smug.
It was, you know, I don't know if it, you know, I'd love to answer that, but if I had to, perhaps that could. Yeah,
I don't think he doesn't know me. He doesn't know me, but like, he really pissed me off in the last week. So I have like a hit list over here.
He's supposed to come on your show, yeah?
Yeah, he was, but I'm not gonna have him on. I have a hit list of people that I'm not like I do. It's sad, but I do. So for him, so he took swings at Beagle Drones. Like, Beagle Drones is producing stuff, and like, I know the owner. I've been to their corporate office, which is funny because Josh is portraying this company as like this massive, you know, venture capital funding, and I show up at their office, and it's like a side garage that they added onto his dad's house. He's like, hey, come on and check out. And it was a really impressive operation for like 20-year-old kids. Like, and he's like, show me everything. It's like, yeah, we're on track to do, you know, 250 grand this year. And they're just selling stuff like it's cheap shit, right? But they're making it easy for people to get in the air. And I think that's like, but that's the problem with the FPV community, is they don't understand that. Like, not everybody has the luxury of knowing somebody that understands beta flight or is willing to walk them through that. So sometimes you got to pay for that knowledge. Or pay for that experience.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people, you know, the new drone that's coming out, right? So we all know that
it hit FCC today. So
FCC, right? So we've seen the pictures. Let's see, we got.
Here's my question. While Jack, you pull that up, is, you know, we've speculated a little bit, but what the heck can they do to a racing drone? You know, we've got the digital feed. Sure. Okay.
I don't think it's a racing drone though. You know, like, if you think about DJI as a whole, like, and you look at that, like, obviously from us, like, we all fly FPV, right? So if we took that into a bando to do freestyle, it's probably not coming out or making it out of its second flight, right?
Right.
So what are we doing with this drone?
That's just a fact. I think that what they're doing with this specifically is the fact that they're looking at this more from a cinematographer standpoint, right?
Okay.
Like, they're looking at
this thing is going to be smooth, probably have some stabilized footage options.
I don't think it's going to be meant for freestyle. Like, I just don't think it's a freestyle quad, right? I think it's meant for getting those shots that your Mavic can't. You obviously can't mount a GoPro or anything to it, so I only see one camera, so I don't know how they're running the feed. I'm sure they've even thought about all of that as well. But I think this is more or less for those cinematic shots, like, because FPV has a whole it's got a whole unique perspective that you just can't get. And I feel like right now FPV is hotter than ever. Everybody wants to fly FPV, but it's hard. It's honestly hard. It takes you months to get a good stick feel.
So how do we make it so that me, who doesn't fly acro mode, you know, how do they make it so I don't crash that thing?
So
that's the question.
The only thing I can imagine is, given the fact that this is DJI, there's got to be some form of stability. I don't know.
Yeah, they've got DJI Magic involved, right? There looks to be two cameras in the front in addition to the big camera. So maybe that's some sort of sensors, obstacle avoidance. I don't know what.
There's a lot there. I mean, for me, what I was looking for in all the FCC filings was like maybe second air units. Like, I was really hoping to see a leak or FCC filing for a new air unit.
And there wasn't that, right? So, which means that, you know, this is likely backwards compatible with the first generation of DJI FPV, which is good news.
Possibly.
Right. So we don't know. But one of the things that was interesting in the FCC leak was the goggles are 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, right? So what does that mean, right? That can mean a couple of different things. And I think that can only mean something good, right? So is it, does that mean the goggles have Wi-Fi so you can actually transmit that feed to your phone so someone can actually watch?
Well, see, that's what I would hope for, because right now when you fly FPV, it's a cumbersome task to even get that feed out to somewhere where you can stream it. Like, you should have saw me the other day. I'm flying. I have the HDMI cord out going into my, I have the USB-C going into my smart controller. I have HDMI going out into an Elgato cam link into my laptop in the field, which is tethering off of my phone so I can do a live stream as I'm flying. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4 technically pieces of gear. Jack, you're muted.
I'm muted.
Yeah, you were muted. Unless if he was just moving his mouth.
I was mumbling under my breath. You were on a roll. I didn't want to disturb you.
I'm like, I see his mouth moving, but the words aren't coming out.
You do that.
That's like the most cumbersome thing. I know Fat Shark makes that really easy with the HDOs. Like you have the ability to output video. I mean, that was my only wish. But if you go back to, I did a stream. I had to unlist it because of reasons, but Drew Camden appeared on the stream, and we were talking about the version 2 goggles. Yeah, I said, I really hope that the version 2 goggles, when DJI puts those out, they'll be a little bit smaller. And almost immediately, without even hesitating, he goes, no, the version 2 goggles aren't going to be any smaller than version 1.
Right.
No, and Paul, like he skipped over it, and he's like, next question. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. My mind was already like, he just told us the version 2s are not going to be small. And I sat on that for like a week, and I'm like, he's got the V2. He's got whatever this is.
Yeah. I hate these goggles and the way that they fit my face. Like I have this aftermarket.
You got to get the other foamies. See, you got those foamies. I put the DJI foam. Chris got the box goggles, the big old box goggles.
Have you ever used those? Are the DJI Race Edition goggles?
Yeah, no.
Those?
Do those work with our digital or no?
No. So
that's only analog, right?
So those work. They work analog. They also will fly. You can fly your Mavic 2 series drones on them.
No, those just look weird. I can't do it.
They're actually, I think those are more comfortable than these.
But that foam, I had bought that same foam you have, and it stunk. So I bought the DJI sells foam. It's like $15. I bought that foam, and it instantly made the goggles more comfortable.
All right. So it's on DJI's website.
Yeah. Let me show you my goggles.
All right. Because I will buy it. Well, maybe I will wait.
So,
maybe I won't buy it. I'll wait to see what comes with the. Okay.
So you see how thick that is? Yeah. It's very plush, and then when you put it on, like it also, like I feel like it also stops light leaks, but it feels good on my face.
Okay.
That sounded weird, but it feels good on the face. But I'm also I fly fat, the fat straps though.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you don't like the top head?
No, I don't like the top over it. Like I feel like I gotta have my bitches on the straps.
What little you got new antennas, huh? Are those the
I put the I had to put the True RCs on there, but I see a lot of pilots are now using that iFlight Crystal.
Is that the patch? The big.
So the iFlight Crystal actually replaces this front plate.
Oh yeah. I saw that.
So you only run you can run True RC top antennas, and then you can have the patch antenna that comes into here, which obviously it'll save a little bit of space. I saw Ferrari. He always puts out some awesome like FPV videos, but he's very chill like FPV reviewer. He put out a video, and he says he loves the crystals. He says he feels like he gets a little bit more penetration with it. It's a little more directional, but he feels like it works better, because I always get a fair amount of digital lag when I'm flying certain spots.
I got that just the other day flying my long range, and that was a little scary because I don't have a receiver in this. I just fly the DJI.
But the DJI RC does really well.
It does really well, except when you lose video, you lose RC. Mm-hmm. So when one thing goes, it's all gone. Thank goodness this thing has a beeper. I
converted everything to Crossfire, so that's all I've been flying. I've been using the Tango 2, which good. I guess it's a good thing that I chose the Tango 2 because it looks very similar to that controller.
Yeah. Yes, it does. I wonder again that Crossfire's 900 megahertz. So I was hoping we would get some 900 megahertz. It would
have been cool if they would, but I mean 2.4. I mean, if you think about it, TBS Tracer is 2.4 now, and Ghost is 2.4. So a lot of them are using 2.4, and they're running newer protocols. to be able to increase the distance, increase the penetration, which,
Right.
I mean, I'm at a point where I trust 2.4 just on the tracer's latency and its ability to push through like walls.
Yeah.
Same thing with Ghost. Ghost is actually really impressive, really, really impressive. And the receivers are super small receivers, easy to bind. I mean, honestly, Ghost is pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, I just, I like not having to deal with all that. So if I can, and I'm flying DJI, I have the DJI controller. I go with that, right? Because it's good. It's really good. It's better than most 2.4. So I don't fly Crossfire. I'm kind of one of those holdouts. Like I don't have a Crossfire module.
I did it for latency reasons. I did it for the latency. Like Crossfire is like, it almost feels like there is really no latency, and you get some added benefits with the Lewis scripts that you can, run certain things. But obviously with DJI, it sort of supersedes that because you can control everything through MSP, and it doesn't really matter. Like I can do most of my PIDs and everything from the goggles, which I never do, but it's nice to see that it's there. I mean, I have not flown analog. I get pissed every time a company sends me analog stuff to review, like Beta FPV. They send me this Night X 360 drone, right? It's cool. It's cool, but they send me
one of those.
They sent me the analog version, and I'm like, so I'm got the Fat Sharks in. I'm flying it, and I'm like, man, now I realize how much I hate analog. But it was sort of interesting because I noticed that from the video feed, there isn't as much latency, but I've gotten so accustomed to DJI. I'd rather take crystal clear video versus like a slight bit of latency. It's not noticeable enough for me to want to sacrifice that video feed.
I feel like I'm just starting to get good enough where I almost feel like I feel latency. I'm just not, I'm not very good when it comes to FPV. So the latency, maybe it is the latency. I'll blame
only a few times I'm like, oh shit, that tree came up quicker than my fingers could actually get, I've only had it happen like a very few times, like, but never anything bad. And usually I can recover, but I don't know. I don't know. But that Night X is probably going to be the end of this 360 camera I have. I can almost be certain of it.
You don't have to do crazy things. You can do them all in post.
No,
I'm with you. Like
that's true. That's true. But it's just the landing it. It's sort of cumbersome, actually. Like you can only land in the grass because these lenses are always exposed. So they're always exposed. They really didn't think out the process of how like it sort of tapers down, and the FPV frame is actually cracking because when you put your camera in there, it tapers it down, and it's actually putting tension on the frame. And it's actually cracking, and it's bad. It's really bad, actually.
Yeah,
it's just a sheet of carbon fiber that's cracking.
It's the carbon fiber top plate that's cracking, but the top plate is so thin that it doesn't take very much for it to crack. So there's definitely some quality control, thought out processes that they didn't really think of. I've actually been working with Ham FPV a lot, which I like their products. They're all digital. They're all in on digital, and they're making some really incredible whoops.
Yes, I've got a Ham. I think the 2-inch. I think
the Micron.
Yeah, the Micron.
That thing's great. It's quieter than I thought it would be. So it doesn't sound like a jet engine as you're going down a hallway. But what I like about them is they run 3S batteries. So with 3S, like I feel like I have a lot of control. Even in acro, I'm like, all right, I can really manage my elevation, and I'm not feeling like I'm all over the place or I'm bobbling. You always get that like whoop washout. Don't feel like I got that at all, which is pretty impressive. I like it. I think what they're doing is awesome. He always messages me, "Hello, bro." Hello, bro.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, definitely. I'm excited because looking at the specs on some of their stuff, it looks good, and they're trying to make small digital.
Yeah, small is where it's at, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like these are my Orca FPV goggles, and I was jacked to get these things. They're awesome. They were like, I don't know what they're like, $550.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
I bought the rapid fire module. I bought the FPV Connect module, and now
But that's the thing, like digital ruins it. And my fear is I'm so in on digital, right? I'm so in on digital. And if they put out this drone, my biggest fear is they don't put out a revision to this, or they don't give us better air units, or they say, well, we're not going to put out any more updates, and what you got is what you got. And they become very hard to get. I can't imagine them doing that, right? Like, because not everybody's going to want to fly that. Like, what that thing isn't what I would want to fly. Like, yes, it's cool, but I would break it in probably an hour.
Right. But
probably less.
They didn't build that drone for you. They didn't build that drone.
No.
They built that drone for Chris.
But that's what I'm saying is take my money, give me V2 goggles that work, give me a 6S compatible air unit. Yeah, give me a 6S compatible.
It's coming. It definitely is.
Like
6S.
The Vista's 6S.
Yeah. So
you can run the air units on 6S, but the only problem is, like I've learned, you can't use step downs. Like you can't use the BECs if they're not built into the flight controller, because I would constantly get video freezes. As soon as I would arm using a BEC, I would get backfed noise into the air unit, and it just wouldn't work. So the only way I could do it is if I bought a flight controller that was ready to go for DJI. That's the only way I could fly them.
Yeah, I know there's a way to do it. I don't fly 6S very much.
I can't fly 4S anymore though.
Oh gosh, 4S.
Dude, I'm telling you, once you fly 6S, you're spoiled, because it's just like there's no sag. There's no sag. Even at the end of life of the battery, there's barely any noticeable sag.
Yeah.
And it's sick.
So I'm toying with the idea of going to more 6S. And so I put my throttle on a dial. Have you done that?
Nah. I'm all out.
But like, listen, you're good. I'm not, right? So I get this dial here, and I can literally like turn it down to like 95 and or 90 or 70.
I'm all like, I don't know, like I feel like the faster I'm going, the more control I have with shit. I'm just learning that less is more. Like when I first flew, I was like very twitchy, and it was like I would constantly make all these micro adjustments, and I was constantly wanting to adjust things, because that's how it is when you're flying a camera drone. And I guess that's part of the reason why I stopped flying unless you don't have to. Because when you fly a camera drone, it teaches you bad habits on FPV. It just does. It inherently does. I can't fly that like this, vice versa. So I just don't. But I'm just learning that less is so much more. Like I let the drone do what it wants to do, and I just will sort of guide it where I want it to go, I guess.
Yeah.
But I just let it do its thing, man.
Let's take a look at the chat. Geek Savannah thinks, is that 2 pounds? Chris, convert that. What is
2 quid? That's 2 quid.
2 quid.
I don't know. 2 quid.
That's what is that? It's awesome. Whatever it is, Geek Savannah, appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for
Sean's a great guy, man.
That's awesing.
Have you ever seen his channel?
Yes, for sure.
He does some pretty cool like news, and he was doing for a while. He was doing FPV Wednesdays. I don't know, like Sean is smart. Sean's the smartest marketing person in YouTube. He does this FPV Wednesday, and he gets the hottest co-host I've ever seen, and I end up with Paul. I've got my co-host Paul. I'm like, Sean gets this, and I get Paul.
Well, Paul's a nice guy.
Paul's a nice guy.
How's he look?
He's not a live. He's not a live. Paul is not a live.
He doesn't fill out a 2-piece.
He doesn't fill out a 2-piece. We do get a lot of Paul ass crack though. If you stick around long enough to the end of the show, you get a lot of Paul ass crack.
Yeah, there was some last show for sure.
Yeah, there definitely was a lot of Paul crack.
Only Mad Droner did the conversion, $2.67.
There you go, man. That's right. The quid is more than the dollar.
Yeah.
Staying strong, Brexit and all.
They're doing something right. Better. You got a lot of things.
Eddie says the 6S is the way to go. 4S is now his goggle batteries. That's true. That's what I've done.
Oh, it's good. I mean, it'll power the goggles forever, right? So that's good.
So I want to, it's been fun hearing you guys nerd out about stuff I don't understand, but help me understand what, because I got some ideas what the DJI drone is going to be that makes it more mass market.
I think
I'll throw one thing out there that I think they could do, and it's something I've thought of for a while that should be on beginner drones in general, which is we all know about altitude limits.
Yep.
Which is a max. Why isn't there a drone with a min? I mean, that's kind of like the ultimate, to me, crash resistant, and it's super simple from an algo standpoint compared to obstacle avoidance, right? You just say, I'm headed for the ground. I have 100 feet to 200 feet or 100 feet to 400 feet range. And wouldn't that be a way to learn to make it harder to crash?
I mean, I guess the altitude minimum would be a harder thing to differentiate for these drones, especially when you're falling. One thing that you can always determine easily is how high you're going, because the rate of acceleration to go up is a lot slower than the rate that you are coming down at in most instances, depending on what you fly.
Right, but
you're also traveling. You're also traveling that, so you start out at a slower speed. But when you're descending, I guess the only way you would know is like, hey, well, that and the other thing is that I don't know if that would work, and essentially too, because there's been times like prime example of this situation, like you just described. I took off I was 400 feet above sea level. I was on a cliff, and I was going down towards a river. So I was going down towards a river, and to the bottom of the river was 400 feet down. So I was traveling negative 400 feet essentially. So I don't know if that, would work.
I'm not, and we have another question along those lines. What if you're on a flying mountain flying down? So I'm not getting at how I fly this drone. I'm getting at how does a user of an FPV drone learn how to fly acro? Is that going to be part of this deal? Or
I think it will be. I think it will be. It has to be. You got to think like DJI drones have, all sorts of flight modes, right? I can't imagine them not including something like that. Like we think about our drones, like FPV drones have something called acro trainer, right? Where it's sort of like it weans you into acro. Never used it, but it weans you into that. Another thing you could do is you could fly angle or stability or angle, or is it angle or horizon? Either or way, I feel like those modes still wean you into flying FPV the right way. And I think once pilots start strapping into goggles for their first time, I think they're going to realize that flying behind a set of goggles is actually easier than trying to fly a drone line of sight. Flying a drone line of sight is actually more dangerous than being behind the goggles. When you're behind the goggles, you see everything.
Yeah, I hear you. And it's a much wider field of view camera.
Yeah, legit. It's like you are literally the pilot of that plane, I guess, if you want to put it that way.
I like the SYA button. It took me a second there, but yeah, saving your butt. Because it's gonna have GPS, right? So like, I'm freaked out. I press this little button that's right here, maybe on my, easy access somewhere, and it just does a full throttle, whatever it takes to get it to 0 miles per hour.
Yeah,
that would be interesting to see how fast can a FPV quad stop. And one of the things we've done here, I don't know, we haven't done in a while, Jack, is we measured how much thrust these drones create. And the racing drones are in the 3 to 5, sometimes 6 Gs. So you mentioned flying upside down. Like, you could fall, but there's only a 1 G differential. So you've got a drone that can pull 5 Gs. That means it can go up with 4, down with 6. So you can still go up really fast, obviously. But a drone with that much power can come to a stop in short order compared to, a Mavic, right?
I think it's going to boil down to the fact of, that hybrid of having GPS, because like we have GPS on quads now, right? But it doesn't work in the same capacity of like a DJI drone, right? It'll get you a return to home, but it's going to come home however high it is. Like it's sort of, exactly. Like when that thing returns home, it's scary.
It is scary as hell. Like
it's scary. You want to make sure you're actually high, because it's just sort of doing like one of these, like just sort of pulling through the air, which is freaking weird. And then it just sort of just drops. Like as soon as it gets closer to you, it's like, all right, you take over now, and you got to sort of figure it out.
Yeah, we we were out flying this GPS drone with Francis, a Good Venture Drones, good dude, great company if you're looking for FPV parts. But he was actually flying it, and thank God it was him that was flying, because the GPS was sending this thing to Montana, and he did a great job bringing it back. We actually had the Sony RXO.
We had like a $700.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I was looking at putting that camera on one of my quads because I wanted like a better quality. GoPro just wasn't doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Insta1 cameras just for me still don't do it as far as the quality goes. So I was looking, and your videos were popping up for the RX02, and I was like, I wonder if that's viable, especially now since Catalyst Browse is a thing.
Yeah,
but I'm still seeing a lot of people. They got a lot of jello.
Yeah,
it's just
you gotta really have a super well-tuned drone.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Before we move or go back to the DJI drone, real quick, your opinion in Insta360, because we've been thinking about getting one versus the GoPro, the new GoPro.
I wouldn't. If you want one, I'll send you one. I've got 3 of them.
We'll take it.
They sent me a few of them, so I'll send you one. I would hate to see you buy it because I think you'll be really disappointed.
Really?
And maybe you'll come to the same conclusions that I have come to with this camera. Like it's great if you're not moving at a rapid rate of speed, but anything over, I would say 30 miles an hour, it has a hard time with compression ratios. And it's very, very noticeable if you're not exporting the footage out to ProRes. So there's a whole nother workflow that you have to do. Like with GoPro, I can run the bit rate up as high as I want it to, and it's fine. And then I take it off the SD card, and it's amazing. It's an amazing camera. It's amazing.
Yeah.
With the Insta1, I have to then run it through their software to be able to get in the final image or add the stabilization. And what I found is artifacts, like you get all these digital blocks in the image.
Software is the worst.
Yes, it's horrendous.
I love little Insta360 Go.
The Insta360 Go actually, I think, puts out a good image for 1080p.
It does, but like you can use your phone, you can use the computer, and the computer crashes one on every 4 times I try to render something, and I can't manipulate the image like I can on my phone. I don't understand why. Like that's
I absolutely hate it. Now I use the Premiere Pro plugin. So like when I'm using the 360 footage, I pull it into Premiere and I just keyframe it with the plugin. But the only time I've ever found that I've really been happy with the footage, I'll tell you where it does shine. The 1-inch sensor works amazing at night. Amazing at night. Yeah. At night, the 1-inch sensor works great. It's an amazing camera at night because you don't notice those digital block breakups. So at night,
that it had that sensor.
Yeah, at night, that's phenomenal. But for anybody who spent the $500+ on that sensor, I would be pissed. And I even said this to them because the one cool thing about their company is they do listen. They do listen. They listen to what their users say, and they listened to me when I said that the artifacting is really bad. And I sent them several examples. I said, this is what happens when I export your footage. The compression is so bad. I'm getting this like digital block. I said, and this is coming right out of your software. This is not even before I put it into Premiere Pro. I said, this needs to be fixed because GoPro doesn't do this. And the colors just don't look as appealing as GoPro. Now, albeit I don't like the Hero 9 colors. I think the Hero 9 is a little too saturated.
Oh, they overdid it. Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather have a Hero 6. Like all my Hero 6s that I have are decased now. Every single one of them.
You got a bunch of naked Hero 6s?
I got a bunch of naked Hero 6s. They work they work amazing.
Well, get after, we will send you a shipping label, by the way. I've always wanted to try that thing. But I think that's going to be the biggest thing. I mean, remember back to the Phantom 2 and the Phantom 3 comes out and DJI's like, GoPro's like, oh, oops. Like, there goes our drone platform, right? And they spend the next few years trying to develop their own drone, which flops. But here's DJI again. I think that's more than anything, what this drone is going to be is it's going to eliminate the need for you to think about a GoPro, whether it has its clothes
Right.
on or not, being on your drone, because it's going to have the stabilization. I think there's going to be multiple ways to export that video, levels of stabilization, FPV. If we're lucky, we get something like we have on that Insta360, where we can actually do not even, fully stabilized, crazy horizon mode stuff, or just, stabilized, smooth, original, whatever. There's going to be ways to export your Whoop like.
I think a lot of people will be really happy. I know a lot of people are really upset about it, and I'm not gonna really say much about the quad itself, but I'll just talk around it. I think that a lot of the people that are skeptics now, like the hardcore FPV enthusiasts, the hobbyist side of it, they're the ones that they have the biggest problem with this product. But I think the ones that rely on FPV commercially, like I rely on it commercially to get certain angles and certain videos for my clients, like something that nobody else can provide. I think the people that provide that type of service and want that more cinematic, like they're interested in only like the scenery, not the tricks, not the anything else, but just the views. They're the ones that are going to be the most impressed with this, and I think the hobbyists will come around, because I think what this is it's a gateway product, right?
Yes.
This is a good feeler. This is DJI saying, hey, we see that there's a market here. How interested are people in this versus this? Now you just created a drone that could essentially be remote ID ready, right? Mm-hmm. There isn't an FPV quad right now that is ready for remote ID. There isn't, right? What drone out there is really ready? We're all pushing back on it. It's going to happen regardless, and probably the day after Christmas, knowing the FAA, but it's going to happen. So I would rather have something instead of nothing. Now, price-wise, no idea. I couldn't even fathom what the price would be on that freaking thing. Really can't.
There was going to be an expensive package. What?
Oh yeah, for sure.
1,100. What was our guess, Jack?
Well, I think we figured $1,100-$1,200 for everything. It's going to be like, it's not going to be worth it to just buy the drone itself.
We figure if we piece it out, it's going to be $1,600.
Yeah, and there'll be a discount to buy it.
There's going to be a major discount.
I'm still holding out hope that we see V2 air units, and who knows? Maybe these V2 air units have something like GPS built into them or something, right? Maybe they have that, or some sort of receiver that you can send information out, or even better yet, with remote ID, you can now program your registration number into the quad, so you don't have it physically on the bird itself. Because on our FPV drones, it's really hard to put numbers on there. They're going to be really small, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be completely real. I've seen very, very few people that have ever registered an FPV quad. Very few. I can actually say I've only ever seen one person do it.
Ours are all under 250 grams, so there's no
Same.
need.
Every single one of them.
Like, there's no need to register any of these quads that I have. So we're good here.
How much does one of those 6-pack 6-cell batteries cost?
Yeah.
Or weigh? I'm sorry.
6S batteries?
6S. Yeah. What do those weigh?
Oh,
good amount, man. I weighed out my Cinewhoop yesterday, the little HOM FPV. I was at 214 grams takeoff.
There you go. Yeah.
214 grams. But according to the FAA, it doesn't matter, because if I'm posting to YouTube, it's still. But again, technicality. It's a technicality that are they going to really go after you for it? Probably not.
Yeah,
probably not.
Yeah,
that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Well, a comment in there. Eddie Nunez says the Insta360 has created a naked D-case camera. I did see that. Beta FPV did drop it. So that'll be cool. That'll be cool to see what that is.
But you can shave a lot of weight with so Beta FPV, when they sent me that quad, it's on the back wall. They sent me that quad. It came with a USB-C plug. So basically, this is pretty damn cool. I didn't even know you can do this. You can detach the battery and then just plug it in and run it off of power, just like that. And that saved a pretty good amount of weight. It was definitely less than a GoPro.
Yeah, that's cool. I got the Beta 85X, right? I think it's this. You have the 95, I think, maybe.
I've got the 95X. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have the 85. So it's a little bit smaller. Same thing, but the VTX on it was garbage. So they're sending. You know what's weird?
The VTX they sent me for the 95X, it's analog. Yeah. And I think it gets really good video. Like, I don't get any breakup.
Yeah, mine was like I had this constant wave, like I couldn't fly. It was, I mean, I have enough
That's a bummer.
just flying as it is, so I need a signal that's not garbage.
That's a bummer, dude.
So yeah, this is fun. Ken, thanks for joining.
Man. Yeah, dude, it's always fun to hang out and chat with you guys. You know,
Appreciate it.
Talk drones. It's always good to be able to nerd out with people that are, you know, in the space, you know, technically speaking.
Love it. Hey, quick question for you.
Yeah.
Did you get, we sent you a half chrome hat. Did it ever show up to your place?
Let me check. Let me look.
I think that's a yes.
I got the team apparel right here.
Oh, there you go.
There we
Team
go.
player.
There we go. We got the team hat right there. Got the half chrome. I'm a hat slut. I got all sorts of hats.
That's good.
So I'm actually, I think Monday I'm talking to your class. We're doing that Monday.
Yes, that's right. Yes, Ken is coming on.
That's
not my drones class. It's my entrepreneurship class. We're going to talk about branding and social media. And I thought, who better than Ken to talk about?
Well, there's definitely a lot better people that you could have selected. I was just probably available.
Is there going to be a filter?
Yes, we have a Chris. They have a button, so every time I say anything like, "Oh, you got to do this," they're ready to go.
Yes,
Good.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Put you on like a 10-second delay.
Yeah, it's gonna be like we're gonna edit that out. No, we're gonna be on the best behavior for the students.
Good. Good.
We'll be on the best behavior because, you know, everybody's in that. We're all doing that digital learning now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody.
So, yeah, man. Great. Thanks for having me on tonight, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
All right, guys. We'll see you later.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right.
Ken's always a good time. If you guys haven't seen his show, he runs a live stream Wednesday nights. Most Wednesday, I think it's Wednesday nights. Yes,
Could be
Thursday. I think it's Wednesday nights. Drone Brews. It's good time. He's got some good guests and stuff, and they do what we do. They talk drones. So if
you might catch him crushing a can on his head.
I haven't seen him do that in a while, so we're good there. But yeah.
When do we find out about this FPV drone anyway, Jack? What's the date?
So FCC filing was,
It's before Christmas then, yeah?
Probably, maybe. Right. So, it's hard to say, right? So, that their FCC filing to launch has been, somewhere between a week and 2 months. So,
okay.
It could be before
January.
Christmas, it could be after Christmas. So we'll see. We know that Joshua Bardwell has one. We think that Drew at Rotor Riot has one. I'm sure there are other people that have it as well. So people are testing them, which means that it's coming soon. And it's exciting, right? It's not a racing drone, it's not a freestyle, it's somewhere in between. So it'll be fun. Yeah, my guess, Jaron says January 2021. That's my guess too.
Yeah, we've got a lot of predictions. We got Jet Martin, $14.99. That's pretty steep.
Yeah, I hope it's cheaper than that, because we're gonna have to buy one.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, if the camera is excellent, if the stabilization is excellent, then you can use it for a lot of things, right? And, you could fly it as a pure GPS drone and do some of the same things that you're doing with a gimbal drone, maybe not quite as well, but those things are really going to have to be excellent to warrant that price, I think, to draw people in.
Yeah, and it does look like it has a gimbal, whether it's a 1-axis or a 2-axis gimbal.
It's going to be, here's my pretty strong prediction. That's going to be a 1-axis remote adjustable, right? So, I thought I wanted to fly slow. I want to fly fast. So
yeah, that would make
dial it up.
Yeah.
Without having to land it.
So we'll see. So, hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you missed the beginning, we did give a drone away, right, to Jared Marchand. I saw him on the stream throwing some questions out there. Hopefully there he is.
Here's an idea, Jack. Maybe if we get another live stream in before it's released, I say we put a competition out there for who gets closest to the price. Of course, there's going to be people DJI won't tell the early receivers what the price is, will they? No, I don't think so.
I'm trying
There's
to.
going to be people that actually know, though, so that's not a fair giveaway.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's an idea.
Yeah, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, yeah. So if you want a free drone, we're giving one away every month. We gave one away today. We'll give one away in January, but we do that for our Patreons.
What's a Patreon, Jack?
Patreon is someone that's supporting this channel.
Why would you do that?
Well, a couple things we have a communication channel where you can ask Chris or I questions directly about drones or cameras. So we'll answer your questions. We'll do that. But we also post on our Patreon that we don't post, on our YouTube. And you can get a drone, right? We get a lot of these drones from companies like Banggood. And we have a surplus of $100 to $200 drones. So we're going to give them away. There's no need for us to hold on to them. We've been giving them away to kids and friends and all the neighborhood kids and friends of ours that we like already have drones. So we're giving them away. We're going to give away a drone every month to our Patreon. It's going to be $100 to $200 drone. Yeah.
If you ever wanted to try these out, send us an email too. I think we're gonna put these on the market here.
Yeah, the DJI Goggles are those and the Orcas. I'm putting these up on. I think I threw them on Facebook Marketplace today. Actually, they're great, but I don't use them. Those are actually really nice too.
So upgraded the firmware, works with the Mavic 2 series, works with the original Mavic.
And they look damn sexy too.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna definitely.
Those are chick magnets. If I've ever seen chick magnets, like what chick wouldn't want a dude with those things on his face?
I mean, these are comfortable.
Yeah,
they're comfy.
People want to give them away. Give drones away to our first 10 Patreons. Well, we only have 3 Patreons actually. So Jerry's still here. Patreon's rule. So we see him. I saw Game of Drones is one of our Patreons. He actually got a drone from Banggood last time we did a live stream. Actually, the live stream in 2 weeks. I'm asking Banggood for a giveaway, so we'll give away another drone, and that won't be just for Patrons. If we get one from Game of Drones, we got 4 bumping up. We're in the big time. But anyway, if I can get Banggood to give away another drone, we'll give it away on the YouTube channel. So Patrons, actually anybody on the stream can win. And Matt's here too. Look at that. Boom. Matt Turley, Patreon showing up big. Patrons for the win. We do have a 4th Patreon. I don't remember his name because he just signed up today.
To those guys, thanks so much. Of course,
appreciate it, guys. We really do. It means a lot to support this channel. We do this because it's fun. But we're gonna buy this $1,000 to $1,500 drone.
They didn't send it to us. Obviously, we would be talking about it a little differently if they had. Yes, that's gonna be $1,500 out of our pocket, or $1,100, or whatever you think it is. How do you become one? Jaden asked. We're gonna have a link. We have a link in the bottom of every video, right, Jack?
Yes. Wait, Jaren's our other Patreon. Jaren Hathaway is a Patreon. Boom. Hold on. Boom. Yes. Jaren's our 4th Patreon. Welcome. So that's awesome, right? You guys rock. There's a link. Here, I'll throw it in the chat for you guys. There's also one in the video description. If you had guys, if you haven't seen, hold on. I got too many things going on in my brain right now. Maybe I don't have a link to our Patreon. I don't have a link in our description. But you know what I do have a link to? My favorite video. Hold on.
Well, we'll add a link down there, right, Jack?
I will. Yep, I will.
We have it in most our videos.
Yeah,
Or
we
no?
have them in all our videos. I thought it didn't auto populate to our
Live stream.
stream,
Okay.
so I'll throw it in there when I. Oh, why is this not working? Control C means copy. You guys, if you haven't seen this video, this was one of the most fun we've had making a video in a while. Here we go, and it was drone. But,
there it is.
The drone on Elf on a Drone. This is the Insta360 cam, guys. Chris and I had a blast filming this thing.
If you've got kids, share this video with your children, with your neighbors' children, with your nieces and nephews, grandchildren, whatever. We had a lot of fun with it. Dr. Cyclop TV says he's thinking about buying a drone, been thinking for a year. Is it the Mavic Mini or presumably the Mini 2 or the Air 2? The answer is at each price, I think Mini 2 over Mini. It's just too much better, even though you're going to spend another $100. If you're considering the Air 2, go for the Mini 2 over the Mini, even though the Mini is still the best drone at that price. Mini 2 is worth the upgrade. That being said, question of Air 2 or Mini 2, Air 2 is a better drone, obviously, and both are valued at about the right price, right? They don't have competition. They're both the best drones at their price. So if you want to pay more, if you're willing to pay more, you won't regret it. It does have more flight modes. I've got we've got 2 videos up that really do a good job comparing them. So if you subscribe, check out my most recent video, which is on the limitations of the Mini 2. It has a lot of the same content, covers a direct comparison of the Mini 2 versus the Air 2, and make a call for yourself. Use our links, please. It helps us. Doesn't cost you anything. You know, throw like a few bucks our way from DJI if you use our links. You know, buy yourself a Christmas present or holiday present if you're not into Christmas. Either way, they're both really incredible drones, and you know, they have just the right price point to give you the value, whichever one you pick.
Yeah, we also made a video, you know, talking about Christmas. We'd planned to talk more Christmas. We will on our next stream, but we kind of went, you know, $100. This is the drone you want. You know, if that's your budget, that's your gift. Or actually, we did toy drones, right? So there's a drone on there for $25 for kids, $100, $200. Then it jumps to, you know, basically the Mini 2, and then it goes up from there.
You know, I think I know you said, Jack, you didn't get a FPV kit in this year. I feel like for our live stream audience, especially people that are familiar with drones, considering drones, I think like a $100 to $300 FPV kit recommendation. And I think part of that recommendation needs to be how easy it is to get replacement parts, right? So a recommendation that lets you buy a replacement, whatever, props, batteries, drone, if the drone breaks. What's that, Bait FPV?
Nice kit. Although, yeah, you're right. Like,
we need to get that recommendation out there, because that changes every few months, really, what that right answer is.
And that's going to change soon. You know, I'm getting in from Banggood, right? Banggood, again, they sponsor a lot of our stuff, right? But I've got a Nanohawk coming from them. I've got the new Mobula, I don't know what they're even called, Mobula 6 and 7, and iFlight's version, right? So those 4 little tiny drones like this, right? I love these little things, right? So that's the place to start if you want to learn how to fly FPV. That's 100%. That's where you need to start, something small.
Yeah.
The problem
Something
is,
you got to consider, though, is what happens when you want to upgrade. Do I need a new full kit? Do I need just a new drone? What system am I in? Analog, digital? So we probably ought to put a little more thought into it. Maybe not right now, but something we should probably get into and maybe in the next live stream.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think that's it for the night. You know, check us out in 2 weeks. We'll be back on 8 p.m. We'll be talking we'll be talking. What will we be talking? Up Air. Hopefully, it's here by then. Up Air and Xiaomi and drones for Christmas, and maybe DJI FPV will probably know more. There'll probably be more leaks.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna have a couple new drones coming any day now.
Yeah, so
Always new drones.
always fun stuff.
All right, guys.
Yeah. All right, well, guys, we're gonna end it. Have a fantastic night. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.